In French films, the way they list directors, it's like the réalisateur, like the realizer. A director almost seems to indicate to me like all the stuff exists and you're just telling it where to go. And the realizer seems to be a much closer description of what it is, because the stuff doesn't exist. You're sort of making it all appear out of thin air. It really only exists because you and all these people that you've gathered are gonna realize it.
Lady Bird.
Is that your given name?
Yeah.
Why is it in quote?
Well, I gave it to myself. It's given to me by me.
Okay. Take it away, Lady Bird. Here we go. Good.
The film, in a way, was inspired by events from my own life, but I tend to start with things from my own life, and then pretty quickly they spin out into their own orbit.
Sam, I've already had a Coke Zero. Where's Sam?
I don't know any other way to say it except for none of it actually happened, but it's all true. To me, there's something so inevitable about the process of growing up and denying where you're from and then realizing 2 minutes too late that it was a beautiful place. Actually, one of the very first scenes I wrote in the movie was someone at a party in college saying, where are you from?
Where are you from?
Sacramento?
Sorry, where?
San Francisco.
When Lady Bird says, I'm from San Francisco, I wanted the audience to say, oh, no, we know all the people you just sold out. I grew up in Sacramento. I love Sacramento, and I think like most people, the place you grow up, you can never really see clearly while you're in it. You're certain that life is happening somewhere else. But I think everyone has that kind of relationship from like where they're from and their family, and everything gets clearer as it leaves.
Did you feel emotional the first time that you drove in Sacramento? I did. All those bends I've known my whole life, and stores, and the whole thing.
Saoirse was a suggestion of Scott Rudin. I'd been thinking we would cast someone I had never heard of, like an unknown. And he said, well, what do you think about her? And I was like, she's amazing, but like, she's Irish. And he had sent her the script, and she really responded.
You have a performative streak, I think.
Yeah, I think that too.
Maybe you would enjoy theater arts.
It was different than I had imagined it, but all of a sudden I couldn't hear it any other way.
For me, there was so much of it that was on the page already, and it's a very specific type of humor, and it's something that Greta is so good at herself. Why didn't you just say pick up your feet?
I didn't know if you were tired.
You were being passive-aggressive.
No, I
You were
wasn't.
so infuriating.
Please stop yelling.
I'm not yelling. Oh, it's perfect.
Do you love it?
And cut. Great, that was great.
When I read the part of Marion, I could identify with a mother and a rebellious teenager at the time, because I had one in my own home. So I had that part down.
You give me a number for how much it costs to raise me, and I'm gonna get older and make a lot of money and write you a check for what I owe you so that I never have to speak to you again.
Well, I highly doubt that you will be able to get a job good enough to do that.
Laurie Metcalf, I just knew she would be great. I wanted someone who had depth and range and power, and she can bring all the humanity and all the pathos to something and still have hairpin comic timing.
You really need to use 2 towels?
No. I guess,
If you need to use 2 towels, you just have to say, because this affects my whole day, because I have to do laundry before work, and I need to know if there's more towels that I need to wash.
I just need one, sorry.
Laurie's a beast. She can be intimidating for a lot of actors. She's so good, and she has such ferocity, really.
The mother-daughter is the central love story in the movie to me. I don't know a single woman who doesn't have the most complicated, crazy, beautiful relationship with their mother.
And there's just something really incredible about, you know, a parent and a child maybe going at loggerheads with one another, but ultimately having like the deepest unconditional love for each other, and that will never change.
Does Mom hate me?
You both have such strong personalities.
I think Larry is her hero, and she's a daddy's girl. There's just a real gentleness there. I love Tracy Letts as an actor and as a writer, but I felt that I'd never seen him cast in a very gentle part.
It's okay. She'll be back. It's a personal expression, and that's one of the first things I look for when I read a script. It was very well written. expertly crafted, very funny. I don't have any kids. And so if I had any trepidation about playing the part, it was about forming a believable father-daughter bond.
And occasionally he would say, like, I need a second with you, and we'd talk it through. And that was really useful because having smart actors makes you clarify what you're doing because they ask good questions and they say, well, why this, why that? And then you have to kind of say, all right, why? And then you come up with it.
Great. Great, Tracy. Great. Great. Let's move.
Cut.
There.
Check the gate.
Julie doesn't need to be in quotes.
But it's not my real name.
It's not the same thing.
I'm not sure you're right.
Penny Feldstein walked in and auditioned for Julie, and she did exactly the performance you see in the movie, and it was just right.
At first glance, it was like sweet, chubby, great at theater, and I was like, yes, okay, that feels right.
Let's roll.
And then reading the script, it was not only who Julie was, but it was who she was when she was with Lady Bird and their friendship. And I just loved it, and I wanted to help bring it to life.
If the relationship between Lady Bird and her mother is the primary love story, I think the relationship between her and Julie is the secondary love story.
Saoirse Ronan, I look up to her so much, and now getting to know her, and I think we really fell in love, like Lady Bird and Julie are in love in that special sort of weird friendship way that's so unique to two girls.
Hey, I like your band.
Timothy, I saw in a play. He's very, very smart. He's a pianist. He speaks French and Italian. He's a 20-year-old kid who's completely intimidating. But there was something about that just supreme intelligence that I thought would work really well for Kyle.
It's very rare to find real three-dimensional, complex, vulnerable, but also guarded characters in movies today.
So I gave him a lot of literature to read about socialism and economic theories.
I'm trying to, as much as possible, not participate in our economy. I don't like money.
And then he came back and he was like, you love this stuff. And then we had this whole joke. He was like, the funny thing is, everyone will think that you're Lady Bird, but actually you're Kyle. And I was like, it's true. Like, I mean, when he says the thing about, like, putting cell phones in our brains.
The government didn't have to put tracking devices on us. We bought them and put them on ourselves.
Like, I've definitely said things like that.
Lady Bird, your lover waits.
Hello, Danny, the famous Danny. Oh, aren't you adorable, Larry? Isn't he adorable?
He's adorable.
I saw Lucas Hedges in Manchester at the Sea at Sundance, and I basically told him he could play whatever he wanted, but just not Lady Bird. And he was drawn to Danny. I mean, he couldn't be more perfect for it.
Oh, Lucas is amazing. I mean, he really cared about, like, giving as much as he could of himself for Greta, like we all did.
It's going to be bad, and I just need a little bit of time to figure out how I'm going to tell my mom and dad and...
Don't worry.
2002 was a different moment than it is now. No one was out. It's like he so badly wants to be the person that she wants him to be, and that in and of itself is something that I find just incredibly loving and endearing.
Okay, great. Save it. This is so good.
This is the first film I've directed, and when I was writing, I didn't know how it was all gonna work out. And then it was when I had the full first draft that I thought I wanted it to be mine. And even if I was an imperfect director, I felt like my baby to take care of.
I think we should
Just go for this.
just go for this.
Let's party.
Great. Let's party.
She was just really wonderful at, like, encouraging us to really incorporate who we were personally into the characters. And I hadn't really experienced that very much with a director.
You mess up, don't stop and you messed up. That's people mess up. And I think it's like more charming and more, like the more real it is, those are the things that would be really special about it. So don't think you're messing anything up. I want you, like who you are, that's why you're here, and I like all of you so much, and whatever that is will be right.
She's just one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. She would say something so succinctly and eloquently, and it would just get to the heart of exactly what I had been trying to put into words for so long.
I didn't want to intrude too much on their process because I feel like part of being an actor is you have to really own the character. For me, it was about creating a perimeter that they could take it over from me because it's not mine anymore.
Because she's so endearing and so positive and so creative. She knows what she wants, and you just want to be a team player for her to help her create her vision.
Oh, and cut. Oh my God.
Save it. Tails, save it.
Sam Levy shot 3 movies that I've been in, and I asked him to do the film because I love the way he sees the world. I felt like I wanted everything to look like a still photograph. We talked a lot about things looking like memories. I didn't want it to be shaky handheld, like we're just catching this as it's happening. I wanted it to feel very deliberate and very framed and very presented, because I saw it as kind of an allegory.
There's a certain cozy sense to everything he shoots. Open spaces and just a more relaxed vibe.
And I felt like Sacramento is beautiful if we don't try to pretend it's something it's not. Don't try to pretty it up by like sun-dappling some shit that's not real. Just shoot it and it will be beautiful.
You clearly love Sacramento.
I do?
You write about Sacramento so affectionately and with such care.
I guess I pay attention.
I met Chris Jones, who was the production designer when I worked on Mike Mills' movie 20th Century Women.
So this is your house? Yeah.
And he was just a person who was very sensitive and specific. He's just very detail-oriented.
I love it.
Is it too pink?
April Napier, who did my costume design, I would put her together with the actors and I'd let them go off and create something and bring me what they thought it was. Like, her and Beanie came up with like these little clips that Julie wears in her hair and like her Skechers, her white Skechers. She had for Lady Bird that Gap sweater with the multicolored stripes. Any girl who was alive between 95 and 2003 is like, I had that sweater and I had the hat and I had the scarf.
There were so many little touches that maybe you don't even see when you're watching the movie, but for me, as an actor, felt so personal and really helped me feel like Julie. Where there is darkness, only light, and where there's sadness, ever joy.
I always wanted John Bryan to do the score. He's made the score of some of my favorite movies, and it's the most beautiful music.
One more time. Now I know the count.
And he's nocturnal, so I would fly to LA and I'd stay up with him all night.
Oh, make noise. You have coffee for people, man.
You wake up. We'd talk, and then he'd write some more, and then he built this beautiful, beautiful score this way, and it's kind of like an old-fashioned movie score.
Okay, you guys ready?
But it's really crazy to me, like, from the first time we had a phone conversation, he played me basically this theme and said, I'm thinking woodwinds, that now we're here and it's this theme and we're gonna record woodwinds. And it's always what I wanted for it, because I wanted it to have real melody and really go for it.
Yeah. That's when I'll put the blooper reel on.
I guess that's my date.
You aren't gonna get in the car with a guy who honks, are you?
I think, yes, I am.
I do really love this movie. I loved it when I read the script. I loved it when I considered the role. I loved being on the set. I loved making it. And I think Greta's really hit the sweet spot about being a teenager.
I started writing because I wanted to hear actors say my lines I'd written because they made it sound so good. And that's how I still feel. For me, it's all about actors.
I'm in awe of every single actor and person that put their artistry into the movie. The production design, the cinematography, the score, it's just it really is special and magical, and I'm very honored to be in it.
The greatest thing that I've taken from making Lady Bird is getting to work with Greta and see her work. And then all the other actors as well. We all genuinely love each other, and that's really lovely when you get that, because you don't get that all the time with films.
That's a wrap on Lady Bird, everybody. We did it.